Derrick White is staying in Boston for the next 4 years. Breaking news here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. He just signed a 4-year, $125.9 million contract extension. My first initial reaction was, come on, Brad. You couldn't have rounded it up to $126 million. But nonetheless, we knew this was coming, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about here on Celtics Today live on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with me. It's not just talking about Derrick White. We're also going to be breaking down the latest signings in NBA free agency, whether they revolve around the Boston Celtics or any other team in the NBA. We're also going to talk to you guys about what we think of the Nova Knicks and now the newly acquired Paul George 76ers and what that means for the Boston Celtics moving forward here in the Eastern Conference. But like I said, we're going to break down Derrick White's contract extension as well, and more importantly, just hang out with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to our show at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on this Monday morning. Happy July, everybody. It has now officially been 2 weeks since the Boston Celtics became NBA champions, and I've been loving it every single minute. All right, let's see who's in this chat right now. All right, shout out your city. Let me know where you guys are watching from. I know we got a lot of people yesterday that were from all over the world. I want to see if we're going to have that kind of same energy in here today. 50 people already watching to see what we think about Derrick White's contract extension. I'm going to be honest. I thought it was going to be Tatum. I thought Tatum was going to be first, and I really thought it was actually coming today after Tyrese Maxey made this big deal. I thought that Jayson Tatum was going to be the first player that they were going to sign, but Brad Stevens says, I'm focused on Derrick White right now, which is crazy because Tatum is pretty much a lock for a contract extension. All the analysts are saying that. All the analysts are like, Jayson Tatum will become the highest paid player in the NBA this offseason, while Derrick White's extension was a high priority. Why? Because they actually still had Derrick White through the 2025 season, so they didn't need to extend him this summer. I thought it would come maybe inside the 2024-25 regular season. I wasn't expecting it before Jayson Tatum. Not to mention, Sam Hauser is also a high possibility of getting a contract extension. Does that mean Brad Stevens will extend Hauser and White ahead of Tatum and wait for the big deal to come last? Or is Tatum next up here in this long line of extensions that Brad Stevens wants to make happen? But it looks like Brad Stevens just wants to keep the band together. That seems to be what he's doing so far in free agency, re-signing Luke Kornet, re-signing Neemias Queta, extending Derrick White. Kind of just looks like Brad Stevens wants to run it back. All right, where are you guys watching from? I got Fleming in here watching from Hamburg. Barbara from Herndon, Virginia. I got Jonathan Kruger saying F. Rowley. Barbara saying F. Rowley. I love that as well. I got Mr. Gonzalez saying, good job, White, signing that deal. Now get Tatum to sign. He's definitely on that list. Do not worry. He's on that list. Christopher Domingo. He told us yesterday, see you guys tomorrow, and here he is back and better than ever watching from Bama. Ron from the Philippines. Pierre watching from Boston, baby. Let's go. I got Eric Flores watching from Moscow. Mr. Gonzalez saying Celtics fan here from Philly. It's a tough crowd. It's a tough crowd. I know it is. There was one time I was actually Ubering from my hotel to TD Garden. I had to work a game at TD Garden, and my Uber driver had a Derek Jeter jersey on. And I was like, I know, that is a tough crowd to be wearing a Derek Jeter jersey in Boston right now, but I loved it, man. All right, I got Derek Young in here. Grover Williams watching from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Eric in here saying, heard some NBA pundit claiming that 76ers have the best big three in the league now. That pundit will be Tim Bontemps, saying they have the best big three. If healthy, they could definitely contend. But if healthy is the key word there. Christian watching from Boston. I got Celtics Talk Podcast saying, what, Massachusetts? Let's go Celtics, baby. All right, well, then let me ask you this. If you love Derrick White, spam your shams in the comments section right now because number 9 is staying in Massachusetts, baby. The bald-headed guy that has been known to be Derrick White. He shaved his head. He became another huge player for the Boston Celtics and then signed a 4-year contract extension. I think the bald head's working for him, man. I think it's bringing good luck. Kristaps Porzingis, he kisses it before games. It's a rumor, but I may have started it, but I think it's really cute that ends up being true. I got Sketch saying, Phil, I can have the best big three. I got the best big 5, maybe even the best big 6. Pierre spamming the shams. Christopher Lupa. I got Ron, Pierre, Mr. Gonzalez saying Derrick White, a.k.a. Mr. Clean. Yeah. I like that. All right, keep spamming your shams in here. Let me know what you guys think of the Derrick White contract extension. Plus, the more times you spam it, the more people come find us here on YouTube. We got 100 people watching right now at 1 p.m. Eastern time on this Monday afternoon. I hope you guys are taking your lunch break, spending it with myself, spending it with Tyler Smitty. We're going to be live for about the next hour and a half talking about Boston Celtics, talking about NBA free agency, and hopefully we're going to have another contract extension coming soon with Jayson Tatum or Sam Hauser. And then, like I said, I do want to talk to you guys about what I think about the Nova Knicks and what I think about Paul George coming to the 76ers and what that could mean for the Boston Celtics ahead of the 2024-25 season. If you are excited about the Derrick White contract extension, go on ahead and like this video for me. I got 20 likes, but 100 people watching, and math ain't math. And if you guys have now joined this stream, first off, thank you. Second of all, hit that like button. It makes no sense to come in here and not hit that like button. Smitty always likes to say it's like walking into somebody's house and taking your shoes off. It's the courteous thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Hit that thumbs up button for me. Let's see if we can get to 50 likes here and see what we can do about this Derrick White contract extension. Myself, producer Smitty, we are going to break down what we think about Derrick White's extension here in just a few moments. We want to just get everybody in here, settled in, get all nice and cozy, put a sweatshirt on, hang out with us because we do have a long show to talk about a lot of trending topics right now in the NBA. That's why you guys are here. That's why you guys subscribe to Boston Celtics by Chat Sports. This is what we do. All right, with that being said, I now got 27 likes, 95 people watching in here. I got Ron in here, Mr. Gonzalez, John, Edward Kruger, Barbara, Tim Powell, Derek. I got Ron, Christopher Domingo watching this here with us. All right, Smitty, what is your first initial reaction to Mr. D. White extending?
Whoa! We're running it back, baby. We're going back to back. We might win 2 out of the next 3. Might become a dynasty. I don't know. But we got D. White back. And guess what? A lot of people told me he's not going to sign for that. He's going to get way more than $126 million the Celtics can offer him. Guess what? He's loyal. He just won a ring, and he's ready to win more with our Boston Celtics. One of the highest level defenders, one of the highest level three-point shooters, arguably the best 3-and-D player at the guard position in the NBA, Derrick White. You are a Boston Celtic for the foreseeable future, and I'm so glad to have you back.
He's such a reliable two-way player here for the Celtics starting 5. When he doesn't play, I get this pit in my stomach where I'm like, dude, he just contributes in assists, in blocks, in rebounds, in steals, in field goal percentage, in three-point percentage. He does it all. And when he does not play, I genuinely feel like when you go to school and your best friend's not there, it's like this is a wasted day.
Yeah.
This is a wasted day.
I mean, I agree in the sense that Derrick White is kind of is glue guy a cliche term? Maybe it is. But Derrick White might just be the glue that holds this team together. He provides that 5-out threat. Teams can't help off of him, and oftentimes he is the guy that teams do help off of on the perimeter, and the Celtics make teams pay for that type of defense. And Derrick White hits three-pointers at such a high clip. I know he shot 39% during the finals, but it's one of those situations where a large volume of his shots in the NBA Finals were three-pointers, so overall, shot a great percentage there, and the impact that he makes in the defensive end is so huge.
Oh,
he's an excellent rim protector, obviously a very switchable on ball, and he's also a really underrated screener. If you ever look at him and Jayson Tatum in these ball screen actions, they work so well for the Boston Celtics. They're so efficient, and it gets one of those guys open basically every time. You're getting a switch from White's defender onto Tatum. Typically, Derrick White is defended by one of the lesser on-ball defenders from an opponent. And when you get him and Tatum in a ball screen, either gets Derrick White wide open for a 3 or gets a poor defender switched on to Jayson Tatum, he can get into the rack. Very efficient action the Celtics run there. And Derrick White is going to be a huge part of this team moving forward. He's not even 30 yet, entering his prime. I'm so excited to have him back in Boston.
All right, with that being said, why don't we go on ahead and just jump into our cut here, talk about the Boston Celtics, talk about Derrick White, what this means for the contracts moving forward, because this is huge news. We knew it was coming, but it still feels so good just to have it right there. A Woj bomb I've been waiting for. Thought it was going to be Tatum. I actually prepared for Tatum, but White, he fits in there just as well. So we're going to talk about that, break down what we think about Derrick White, what this means for the Boston Celtics moving forward, and how will this contract affect the other contracts that could possibly be happening here for the Boston Celtics in this offseason. Look, Brad Stevens may do the unthinkable. He may not add a single outside NBA player to this Boston Celtics roster, and he may just keep bringing the band back together. He may just keep extending and re-signing, and you know what? I will trust Brad Stevens with my life. This deal has now completely secured.
We got some news about the Celtics as well.
Saddiq Bey?
No. The Celtics majority ownership group is making the franchise available for sale. Just trying to sign all these contracts and then sell the team? What's going on?
So is Wick out? Is Wick gone?
I'm not entirely sure. I feel like
I think Wick's selling the team.
Wick is selling the team?
So is Wick
This is
selling
interesting.
the team? I mean, did he get his ring and he's out?
He's got 2 rings now, but
I thought Horford would be the one to get the ring and peace out. I didn't think Wick was going to sell the whole damn team. I mean, Mark Cuban just did this.
I'm confused. I'm really not sure what prompts this aside from that big time tax bill that they're gonna have to pay. What is going on here?
I'm gonna make this social real quick.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this in the back half of the show.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm seeing some replies in the.
I saw when you said we have some news. I looked down with Saddiq Bey and I'm like, Saddiq Bey?
Did he get signed by somebody?
No, I just saw that's the only name that I saw down there.
They re-signed everyone for $1 billion and said I'm out. I mean, what is? I mean, I will say this: you're selling at a pretty high price point, and the Celtics are valued as one of the NBA's most valuable franchises. But interested to see the direction this team's going to take now. I mean, the good part about this is the team's locked in. So somebody will be paying this money to all these players.
I think it may be somebody's.
Yeah, it'll probably.
I think it'll be somebody's.
Maybe they're trying to sell their majority share, and Wick staying in as an owner.
Yeah, I think it's going to be somebody's. I don't think we're going to have like a sole owner.
No, it won't be a one man owner, and I'm sure it's not technically a one man ownership here with Wick Grusbeck.
Right.
It's an ownership group. He's just the highest stake owner in it. This is interesting.
I am confusion.
Yeah.
I am confusion.
I'd like to see...
pop off, you know? I just wonder if this has anything to do with the billions of dollars that are now going to be coming with a new TV contract. Oh, somebody tweeted out he was on a podcast 1 month ago saying they were absolutely not for sale.
Interesting. What is going on in Beantown right now?
Zach Cox tweeting out, Grusbeck didn't give any indication as recently as Parade Day that he was looking to sell. We are fans who bought this team. We're all in this together. Let's go get another one.
Yeah, that's the big kicker to me is that Wick Grusbeck is a big-time Celtics fan. So why is he deciding to up and sell right now?
I'm making that a social. Zach Cox just said.
Yeah.
We're going to put this on our video coming up here in a minute, but it's going to be a lot. We're going to have the same questions you guys do because I don't know what the hell is going on.
I'm checking Celtics Twitter right now.
This is like behind the scenes of how we get our
a little
shit
bit
together.
Of clarity on what's going on.
Because we're fans just like you guys are. So we're trying to figure this one out too. When did he tweet that out? He tweeted that out.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. So Adam Himmelsbeck just tweeted out, according to a league source, the Celtics majority owner Wick Grusbeck is looking to sell his stake in the team, but this potential sale is not expected to include the entire investment group that purchased the team in 2002.
Okay, so it looks like Wick's heading out.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll send you that.
All right. That's
I think that's probably.
I got it. I just
one
saw it on
to
my thing.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I get it.
That's true. Like, yeah, and Jared Weiss says, fascinating decision to put the Celtics up at this point with TV and expansion money about to flow into the league. In the next 5 years,
wondering,
it's going to be even more money flowing into the NBA. I'm confused. Yeah, he said on a podcast 1 month ago they're absolutely not up for sale.
Pop off, King. All right, I am moving those over.
So if somebody's going to have to buy the team and then pay all this luxury tax money in 4 years, have
That's
fun.
one way to keep the team together.
I mean, Elon Musk might have to buy this team with how much it's going to cost.
Mr. Beast, where you at?
Yeah, get us I'd say Bill Gates, but that guy's a scumbag, so we're not doing that.
So I guess Wick's out. All right.
Wow. What is?
I
mean, we know we're extending Tatum, so like that's the. I feel like Derrick White was kind of the last straw. So the Celtics got all those guys locked up. Just got to get Tatum locked up, which any sound individual would go and do. And the team's up for sale, I guess. But somebody here says this was so obvious. Wick could never afford all these contracts and tax implications. The problem with that is that he bought the team in 2002 for like $500 million, and now the team's worth $5 billion. So he made his money tenfold, and now he's just saying he can't pay up.
I'm making a quick little graphic here that I like. Forbes estimate on what the Celtics is worth.
What kind of graphic is that?
It's a player card, and I just made it. It's a by Forbes estimate. It's going to be a big L3.
Okay. Yeah, Wick's been a great owner. Goes out with a bang by extending Derrick White.
Damn, he said, I'm peacing out before Tatum gets that back.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
All right.
Problem is, like, this is an odd timing.
So Evan Lazar tweeted out, wonder if he's going to try to pull a Mark Cuban here. Give up his majority stake, but still have a piece of the pie while being involved in basketball operations.
I think that's possible. I think that's possible for sure. Trying to check some more tweets. Yeah, I mean the whole enterprise is not being sold, so that's good.
Wick bought the Celtics for $360 million in 2002, and now Forbes has it listed as $4.7 billion.
He made his money tenfold.
I'm gonna make that a quick L3. The Wick bought the Celtics.
Is that not the one you just did?
No. Believe it or not.
Okay. This is whoever's going to buy the majority stake is going to have to be okay with a very high tax bill. The Celtics are going to be the most expensive roster in basketball for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, they are.
Got to be willing to spend if you're going to buy the C's, though. My goodness. Wow. What do you guys think about the sale of the Boston Celtics? Down in the chat. Derrick White's been extended. I feel like the Celtics have always been a smart front office and a smart organization. There has to be something at play here. I don't think this is an organization that goes rogue and makes moves that are going to harm the team.
No.
Especially Wick. Like, he has been diehard this entire run.
Especially if he still has like a slice of a say in it. He's not letting that thing get out of
he just
control.
doesn't want to pay. Yep. Yeah, that's FM with a good point. He just doesn't want to pay that tax. Let someone pay it and still have a piece of the pie. Nice job, Wick. Don't blame him. Dip before Tatum gets the bag. How much is Tatum looking for in his contract? $315 million on the new extension.
All right, let's break down Derrick White, and we'll get into the Wick Gruspec recent news about selling the team in a second. All right, stick around with us. Super chat, comment, like, do whatever you guys can. Get this video out there, get this live out there, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Watch us do this live video talking about Derrick White, talking about the Boston Celtics, talking about Wick Gruspec, and the unexpected news that just came out here about your Boston Celtics. There is no conversation in this entire world where Jayson Tatum takes a pay cut. He's not taking a pay cut. This is not LeBron James.
This is he's not 39. Jayson Tatum is.
He's not a billionaire. He needs his money.
Yeah,
This is his big payday.
This is his big payday. He's going to get another big payday after that too, but we'll see what that ends up being in 6 years.
All right. Yep. Breaking news, Derrick White is now a Boston Celtic for the next 4 years with a whopping $125.9 million contract extension. This news came to us via a Woj bomb, the Woj bomb I've been waiting for. I'm going to be honest. I thought it was going to be Tatum first. But Brad Stevens is like, let's get this bald-headed man his money. And let's see what Woj had to say about Derrick White now signing a contract extension with the Boston Celtics, as he did agree to a 4-year, $125.9 million contract extension. The deal includes a player option, but a huge off-season priority for the champs. My first reaction here is, come on, Brad. You could not have rounded it up to $126 million. What is that? 125.9? What is that? Did somebody forget a free throw that he made? But my second thought here is good. Done. Sign the papers. I knew the minute A, Derrick White shaved his head, he was going to change lives. And 2, the fact that he is now a reliable two-way player for the Boston Celtics starting lineup, he has improved his game, which is saying something for a 29-year-old. In this last year, the Celtics did win the NBA championship. He became the backbone of this Boston Celtics defense. He improved his game to match Drew Holiday's, which is an all-time NBA defensive specialist. Great that he will go down as. I think Derrick White has just barely grazed the ceiling of what he could be, and I think his ceiling can go a lot higher as he sticks with Joe Mazzulla, Brad Stevens, and the Boston Celtics, who tend to surround him with great players to improve his game. And with that being said, if the Boston Celtics make a move, we go live. We make a video. We are here for you guys. We are fans talking about the sport that we love and the team that we love even more. If you guys want to join us, hit that sub button for me right now. Join 38,367 loyal Boston Celtics subscribers. And let's break down what we think about D. White getting that bag. Oh my goodness, Smitty. We've been waiting on this one, baby.
We have no doubt been waiting on this, and first reaction to this is screw all the haters who thought that Derrick White would not take this deal. $125.9 million is the max that Boston was able to offer Derrick White with a 4-year extension. Gives him a player option in the fourth year, and that gives Derrick White the ability to opt out and potentially make more money if he continues the level of play that he is at. And he's not even 30 years old yet. This is a guy who's in the middle of his prime. He's an elite two-way player, an elite rim protector, an elite pick-and-roll player as both the ball handler and the screener. And I couldn't be happier that Derrick White is remaining in Boston for the foreseeable future, as he just adds to the high-tempo transition play that they love, as well as the 5-out offense in the half court. You can't help off of anybody on the Boston Celtics perimeter, and Derrick White is a big reason for that, hitting such a high clip at the three-point line.
I think Derrick White, when I think of him, I think clutch. I think of the Eastern Conference Finals Game 6 when he had the putback, but I also now think of the most recent fantastic clutch shot that he made, which was against the Indiana Pacers when he drained that three to take the win, I believe in Game 3 over the Pacers right in front of their bench. I mean, this guy screams Mr. Clutch. He is not intimidated. He's got ice in his veins. I think that Derrick White is just the epitome of what this... He's a missing piece. He really is. I thought Drew Holiday was... But tell you what, I did not know Derrick White had this in his bag. What he did this season on both sides of the basketball was incredible.
And keep in mind, like, this guy is somebody that they picked up in a trade who was a low-hanging fruit in San Antonio. the Celtics trade a first-round pick, Josh Richardson, and Romeo Langford. Unbelievable return for Derrick White. And look what he did this season, hitting 40% of his threes, 15 a game. He's giving you 5 dimes, 4 rebounds. He's always crashing the glass. One of the great team rebounders, team defenders on this Boston Celtics crop. And you had to keep everybody in tow if you really wanted to contend for more championships moving forward. Derrick White was a necessary extension that the Boston Celtics had to make here.
But what's kind of cool is that they didn't have to actually do it this offseason. He was still under contract through the 2024-25 season, but this is kind of how the business works. You want to show the player what he's worth. You want to show the player that, hey, look, we appreciate what you've done here. So they didn't necessarily have to do this. But now that they signed him for 4 more years, he's now signed through 2029 with that player option being that last year. So I do think that when Derrick White has the opportunity to stay a Boston Celtic, you have to take it. Brad Stevens knew what he was doing, and now they've got Jaylen Brown through 2029, Derrick White with a player option that last year, Jayson Tatum, he's the next guy to be extended, Sam Hauser's the next guy to be extended, Pritchard was just extended, Al Horford may retire after the 2025 year, Kristaps Porzingis is there through 26, Drew Holiday just extended in April of this year for the Boston Celtics through 2027. I mean, what is stopping us from going back-to-back? It may be other teams in the NBA, specifically the Western Conference, but the fact that the Boston Celtics still have everybody that they know can win them an NBA championship is unreal. Not just for 2024-25, but through 27, 28, 29. This is the next 5 years of the Boston Celtics that we are now watching, pending any trade, pending any injuries. A lot of things can't happen. It is the NBA, and things can switch just like that. But if you're looking at it on paper right now, Derrick White's extension just solidifies that you have a phenomenal starting lineup through 2028. You have to. Depending on what they do with Porzingis, who is just here until 2026, I think a $125.9 million deal is perfect for Derrick White. The number one thing I loved about D. White off the court was that I think this was the year that he really accepted the Boston culture, and Boston really accepted him. I saw several commercials of him partnering with Sam Adams, the brew of Boston. I saw several commercials where he was really figuring out what it means to be a Bostonian. He was rocking some Timberlands. He was working out outside. He was just really trying to figure out how to use the Boston accent. And I loved what he did in the commercials to show Boston, you know what? I love it here. Thank you guys for accepting me. He had a stint in San Antonio, then he came to Boston. I think he fits a lot better here in the culture. I think he fits a lot better here with this program and this franchise. And I'm glad that Derrick White now gets to be a face of Boston for a little while longer. Because when I think of Boston, I think of Big Papi. I always have. That was the player that I knew that was the face of Boston for a while now. But I do think Derrick White has really adapted to what it means to live in Boston, play for Boston, and become a Boston great. But Boston's getting a little bit shaky here in terms of front office when it comes to the Boston Celtics. And what's kind of interesting here is that after Derrick White signed this great contract extension, I was like, what else could the Celtics do? And then they did something kind of crazy. We're going to talk about that in just one moment. But what is your one-word reaction to Derrick White's extension? My one-word reaction is hell yeah, one word. Hell yeah.
It counts.
Hell yeah.
Necessary.
Necessary. Elite. Amazing. Incredible. Bonafide. Awesome.
Clutch.
Clutch.
Let's do it.
Clutch. I'm super glad Derrick White's here. Go on ahead and comment your one-word reaction to White's extension down below. All right, let's talk about the weird, interesting, confusing news that happened here. And let me tell you this, starting off. Smitty and I got this news, and like I said, we're fans, talking to other fans, and we're sitting here thinking, what? The Boston Celtics majority ownership group, led by Wyc Grousbeck, is planning to make the franchise available for sale. Sources tell ESPN. The investment group purchased the team in 2002, massive development for one of sports' most valuable priorities. And I saw this tweet very shortly after this news came out here. By Forbes' estimate, like you saw, Wyc bought the team in 2002. Boston is now worth $4.7 billion. That's a B, billion, including debt. A roughly 1,200% increase over the price Grousbeck and his partners paid. Believe it or not, 1,200% means Wyc Grousbeck bought this team in 2002 for $360 million. Now it's worth $4.7 billion. I don't have anything in front of me that shows me this is absolutely true, but that's got to be one of the highest paid franchises there in sports right now. That is a very, very expensive franchise group. And when I saw Wyc was possibly selling this franchise, I'm thinking, okay, who are they selling it to? Is Wyc gone? I know Wyc's a Boston Celtic fan. And my other question was, why? Why is this happening right now? We don't have that answer just yet, but we do have some indications that are leading us to what this might mean for the future, as Zach Cox is saying this is obviously huge and surprising news. So it's not just us that are like, what's going on? Grousbeck didn't give any indication as recently as Parade Day that he was looking to sell. He said, we're fans who bought this team. We're all in this together. Let's go get another one. But then 30 minutes after Derrick White's contract extension comes out, now Wyc Grousbeck is looking to sell the franchise. And Adam Himmelsbach, who I trust with everything in me, tweeted this out, and it kind of clarified some questions that Smitty and I had. According to a league source, Celtics majority owner Wyc Grousbeck is looking to sell his stake in the team, as Woj ESPN reported. But this potential sale is not expected to include the entire investment group that purchased the team in 2002. So now I'm thinking, you know what? It might just be time for Wyc to go. Maybe Wyc is just like, I'm going to sell my share. Mark Cuban just recently did this with the Dallas Mavericks. So I don't think there is any rhyme or reason that we have to dive extremely deep into, knowing that from what Adam Himmelsbach says, it's not the entire investment group. It just looks like, Smith, that Wyc Grousbeck seems to just kind of be moving on, and he may have a small say in what happens with basketball operations, but he may just be piecing out in terms of his part.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. With the Celtics extending Derrick White here, looking to extend Jayson Tatum, looking to even extend Sam Hauser for more than upwards of $15 million plus per year, looks like Wyc Grousbeck was just not able or willing to pay those high tax numbers. Like you said, he could still have a say in basketball operations, like potentially like a Mark Cuban move from the Dallas Mavericks. But he's probably looking now to get a big investor into this team who's willing to buy the team and pay these high tax penalties that the Celtics are going to face as most likely the most expensive roster in basketball for the next 5 to 6 years, being above that second apron line by a good margin. We're looking at Jayson Tatum making $60 million in some years, Jaylen Brown making $60 million at one point, Derrick White making $35, Drew Holiday making $40, Kristaps Porzingis making $30. So just by my rough math estimate, that's over like $250 million for your starting five alone. Then you got Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, whatever Al Horford wants to do with his career, and whatever players you have for the foreseeable future. It's going to be a $300 million plus roster. And the second tax apron line is $189 million. So you're over $100 million over the second tax apron. Wyc Grousbeck was apparently just not willing to pay that, but you're locking these players up, and what a way to go out with a bang by extending Derrick White. Obviously, a sale is going to take such a long period of time. Yeah. This is something that doesn't break in the news in one day, and then the next day the team is sold. This is going to take a while, and I'm curious to see what type of ownership group or who is going to come in and buy this team. It feels like it's going to have to be Elon Musk with how much this team is going to cost over the next couple of years. But I'm glad that they're getting the contracts in place here, because once the contracts are signed, somebody's going to have to pay the money. Yeah. And I'm just glad for you, as the Boston Celtics fans, this team's locked up. We'll get whoever's going to pay that price tag down the line here in the near future.
Well, I hate to bring it to you guys, but it's not going to be Smitty and I. Our salaries combined.
I'm just a couple dollars short. I'm a couple bucks short.
I don't think we can afford season tickets, unfortunately, let alone the franchise.
I can barely afford single game tickets.
I can barely afford my groceries. So
let's be honest.
So we're out of the running here.
Hey, if you want to send us a Venmo, maybe we could get a GoFundMe together.
Should we do a GoFundMe to get Celtics Today to buy the franchise here?
Maybe we should.
Wyc, hit us up. All right. Nonetheless, so they're still making deals. We're going to have more information about Wyc Grousbeck and the selling of the Boston Celtics, or at least least his share of this franchise coming up here in this offseason. But I want to go back to Derrick White here just for a moment. I want you guys to grade the deal for Derrick White. Like Smitty said, a lot of haters out there were thinking Derrick White was not going to put himself first over the contract extension that he was going to get. So grade the deal if you guys think this is a good price for Derrick White. 4 years, $125.9 million. I'm going to give it a B plus just because it pisses me off, and it's 125.9.
Oh.
That number.
Well, that's the max. That's the max they were.
I know, but the number alone just pisses me off. It's not pretty. It looks stupid, and it just is weird. So I'm giving it a B plus.
I'm gonna give the answer that all these Celtics fans are also gonna give. This is an A plus deal.
It's an A plus deal.
A plus deal for Derrick White.
It's an A plus deal.
I don't think you're gonna find a guy at this price point anywhere even remotely close to the production that Derrick White gives you. I love it.
Aesthetically, B+. All right, go on ahead and hit that sub button for me if you guys haven't already. Anything and everything about the Boston Celtics, whether it's Wick selling the team, whether it's Derrick White getting the contract extension, or whether it's the Celtics running it back, winning Banner 19. We're going to have it right here. We go live once a week. We update you guys 5 days, 6 days a week, 7 days a week on videos, letting you know the latest news, rumors, breaking news, whatever about your Celtics. Hey, man, we're just fans talking to fans, and we love having you guys here. Go on ahead, hit that sub button for me. What's going on, dude? Okay, do you think we should put anything about the deal with Grusbeck in the title? I have breaking Derrick White extension. White signs 4-year, $125.9 million deal, plus Grusbeck selling the Boston Celtics, question mark?
Could do Celtics. Yeah. I could see that. I mean, Celtics for sale, question mark? I mean, I don't know which one would pop more.
So you said what? Celtics for sale?
Guess what? Everybody's coming back. We're paying everybody.
Yeah, buddy.
We're paying everybody. It doesn't matter. When you do what it takes to keep a championship roster in place. And this is a problem that many teams face. Like, look back to they didn't win one, but the OKC Thunder back in 2012. They didn't want to pay James Harden. They decided to pay Serge Ibaka instead. Terrible move. But they didn't keep that team together. They never made it back to the finals. The Brooklyn Nets, I mean, that team got real expensive. They never even sniffed the Eastern Conference Finals. There are so many instances of teams not willing to keep it together after a finals appearance or a finals win. I mean, look at the Denver Nuggets now. They weren't willing to, or even able, to keep KCP, to keep Bruce Brown in town. And now they're looking at a big hole in their rotation. This stuff moves quick. The NBA moves real quick. And if you can't keep your guys locked up, your ceiling might be capped. And the Celtics are not deciding to do that.
So an announcement just came out from the Boston Celtics. A press release saying, Boston Basketball Partners, the ownership group of the Boston Celtics, announced today its intention to sell all the shares of the team. The controlling family of the ownership group, after considerable thought and internal discussion, has decided to sell the team for estate and family planning considerations. However, the managing board of the ownership group expects to sell a majority interest in 2024, early 2025, with the balance closing in 2028, and expects Wick Grusbeck to remain as the governor of the team until the second closing in 2028.
Okay, so he's going to be around, and he's going to be paying this squad, for the most part, for a while. And that's good to not, kind of skip out and basically throw all that tax money on one guy. It'll be in the middle of all these deals, so they won't have to pay all of it.
Somebody said, Boston fans, sell the team. Also Boston fans. No, not that one.
Yeah, don't, please. Man. So, wow.
I'm just here to talk about players. I don't know all this fancy mumbo jumbo.
They're going to be paying.
This is too much money for my brain to wrap around.
In 2025, 2026, the Boston Celtics, this includes a Jayson Tatum reported extension, will be paying $250 million in tax money alone. The entire spending of the roster will be $483 million. $500 million for this roster.
So, I don't want to give Roley anything here, but he did have a question. He's on Maine right now talking about
what's that?
What's going on here. How is Brad Stevens able to do this? Like, genuinely.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Gonna make it's just going to cost out the ass to pay all these guys.
Should we pitch in? Should we start a GoFundMe?
Listen, it's like an NIL fund for a college. You got to pay up to play well. Get all the Celtics alumni, all the former Celtics, start donating.
Literally. Get Kevin Garnett's ass up in here.
Yeah, Kevin Garnett made a shit ton of money in his career.
It's like all those former players, hey, we're sorry we paid you that much when you played for us in 2008. Can you possibly give us back some of that money for what we, you don't need it. It's fine. We're trying to win again.
Your podcast is doing really well, so let's see some of that cheddar.
The podcast, just focus on the podcast. You could just monetize that. You'll be good.
This is crazy, guys.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around it and what this will look like.
And so under contract for next season, obviously, will be Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, Derrick White, Al Horford, Peyton Pritchard, Luke Kornet, Jaden Springer, Sam Hauser, Jordan Walsh, Baylor Shireman, Neemias Queta. Now in 2025-26, it'll be Drew Holiday, Kristaps, Jayson Tatum on the extension, Derrick White, Jaylen Brown on the extension. Jaylen Brown's extension kicks in next year. He's getting paid $49 million. Derrick White on his extension. Al Horford's contract is up. Peyton Pritchard's getting $7 million that year, and then Luke Kornet and Jaden Springer come off. Sam Hauser comes off as well. They're still looking to make that extension happen, so that isn't even factored in to the $480 million if they extend Sam Hauser. It will be $500 million basically because he's going to get $15 million. Then obviously Jordan Walsh, Baylor Shireman, and Neemias Queta will also be on the roster for 25-26 as well.
FM Chatty saying Shaq might get a piece.
Ooh,
he could. He's a billionaire.
Yeah, he's got money. He's a Celtic legend. Not really, but kind of.
I don't. Alberto said Derrick White is an A+++. No brainer. New teeth coming soon.
Oh boy, John Henry and Fenway Sports Group have said in the past that they are looking to buy an NBA team.
He's a good businessman, though, correct? Or no?
I think that's the team that they want to sell. Like, that's the team that fans
I know
want.
the name, and I can't remember if it's for good reasons or bad reasons.
It might be for bad reasons if you know his name.
Let's see.
Wow.
Yeah, he owns the Boston Celtics.
People don't like him. Yeah. People don't like him.
I knew that I had I knew
Which is funny because you know who else is involved in Fenway Sports Group?
Big Papi?
LeBron.
Is he?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
LeBron's got some stake in the Red Sox.
Interesting team to have some stake in. What was I about to say?
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, there isn't a ton of clarity as to like what the main reason for this is. It's obviously you can assume it's because of how much money this team is going to cost.
Genuinely, it sounds like just personal reasons. It just sounds like the family is stepping out.
Yeah, because they don't want to cough up all that money.
No, I know, but I don't know what the personal reasons are for. Because what's Wick? Wick's also old. I mean, older.
I don't even think
63? He could just be out. He could just be done.
Is he 63?
Yeah. He could just be done, dude. Mark Cuban's 65. Jesus, he's 65? Pop off, King.
Who's 65?
Cuban.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Looks great.
That's what I said. Looks great.
Looks great.
Speaking of Jayson Tatum contract extension, so Brian Windhorst did say the week the Celtics did win the NBA Finals that he would be expected to sign his extension within the next week or two. I thought it would be today ahead of Derrick White, but, here we are. But I do need you guys to do something for me here. I need you guys to like the video because 250 people watching, 83 likes is not going to cut it to my bosses right now. Bosses said we have to have 50% viewership and like ratio. So go on ahead and hit that like button for me if you guys haven't already. 236 people are watching. 86 people have liked it. The more you guys like it, the more people come join us in here talking about D. White, talking about Wick Grosbeck and Tatum and how they owe a lot of money to a lot of people.
We need 45 more likes. 45 more likes. Let's get it done.
You know Joe Mazzulla's over here just rerunning the heist of the town in his head. Like, oh, man, it's a lot of money. How are we going to pay these players? And he's just thinking of what mask he would wear and should he call Ben Affleck what bank he should go rob.
This is kind of ridiculous.
Do you mind taking over here for a quick second?
Yeah,
I've had to pee since we started.
I can totally get that done.
Oh, heck yeah. Things you love to hear. That.
Here we go. Let me just get this set up.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep a tab here on Twitter because I think everybody has a lot of speculations about what is happening here.
All right, you good.
All right, cool.
All right, Celtics fans, Derrick White's back, but we're selling the team. What's going on? Derrick White's back. Jayson Tatum's... Come on, let's be honest. Jayson Tatum's back. You just need to see pen to paper. But we're selling the team. What's going on? I'm trying to get some more clarity on Twitter right now as to why this is happening, what the plan is. That Celtics PR statement makes a lot of sense. But, guys, this is crazy. We got to... Listen, players are locked up. Tatum, Brown, Holiday, White, Porzingis, Pritchard, Hauser, Shireman, Kornet, Queta. Not a ton of elite on-ball defenders outside of the starting five. And you got Horford for next year, obviously, too. But as far as pure perimeter defense goes, you're going to really have to hope that Jaden Springer takes a leap. Is able to play in situational basketball next season. Celtics are broke. There will not be any more free agent signings. Think about this. They were already going to be. We already assumed they were going to be way over the second apron. They are as far over the second apron as you possibly could be. And it's just one of those situations where we can't really ask this question much anymore. Aside from veteran minimum contracts, I believe that's the only avenue for teams above the second apron to acquire talent in free agency. They cannot aggregate salaries in a trade. They cannot purchase picks in the NBA draft, so they can't trade, Jaden Springer for a second-round pick. They can't do that. They can't send more than one player in any trade. So, I know they have a lot of players that would arguably cover up a big portion of a trade as far as salary goes. Derrick White's going to be $35 million. You're going to have Drew Holiday at $40 million. But, this is not a group that I feel comfortable breaking up in any sense of of play. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but you don't break up this group. This is a championship group that's going to be contending for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And when it's all said and done and you have to maybe retool a little bit 5 years down the line after Holiday and White, I imagine Derrick White actually is going to be a Celtic for life. Shout out to Derrick White. I just have that gut feeling that Derrick White is a Celtic for life. But after Holiday, after Horford, after Porzingis, I'm not sure Porzingis is getting another deal with Boston after his current contract is up. Maybe he takes a bit of a pay cut because who knows about his availability? He got paid. He signed a contract extension after playing the most games of his career since his rookie season, right? This year he plays only about 50 games. You can't pay a guy $30+ million when you know he's not going to play 60+. And you have question marks whether or not he's going to be ready for an entire postseason run. The guy played 2 games, right? 2 games before he got hurt and was shelved for the Miami series and all the way up until Game 1 of the finals. Now, that Game 1 of the finals, I will never forget that. I will hold that in my heart forever, the performance he gave in Game 1. And he was even good in Game 2 up until he tweaks that fake tendon in his leg. They just created an injury for him. And then comes back in Game 5, gives you a couple decent minutes, and he's an NBA champion now. But I don't know what you sign him for past his 2 years on this extension. 2 years, $60 million is what Porzingis will be on for 2025 and 2026. So, Sam, what do we got here? What do we got? Yeah, we're selling the team. The Celtics are selling the team. So, this is kind of crazy, right? The Celtics are selling the team. But it won't be, I want to read back that Celtics PR statement once again. The Celtics are for sale, though. The Celtics are for sale. Isn't that a crazy thing to read? But guess what? Derrick White's back in town, so I'm cooling. I'm good. Like, the Celtics are set up for success. Everybody out there in the Chat Sports office is in shambles. Like, how can they make it work? How can they pay all these guys? I don't know. Brad Stevens is smart. Brad Stevens is a brain. He'll make it work. Somebody's going to come in and be able to pay. I need somebody who needs to be worth around what Steve Ballmer is worth for the Clippers. Maybe he'll just sell that team and come buy the Celtics instead, because we're actually competitive, contending, and locked up. There isn't a move that needs to be made around the Boston Celtics here for the foreseeable future. My good friend Allie Barefoot back in the fold now.
I don't know how to feel.
The Celtics are for sale.
I don't know how to feel right now.
Selling all shares of the team, though. So that is so confusing to me as to the report that we heard of it just being Wick and not the entire ownership group. But all shares of the team are for sale. So I'm very confused as to what is the overall plan here as far as the sale of the team.
Poor Derrick White. Can't get his moment. Just wants to talk. Just wants to talk about Derrick White for a little bit. Got 30 minutes before they're like, hey, we're selling the team.
Was it even 30 minutes?
I don't think so. Maybe.
Let's see. Derrick White signs at 12:42 Eastern Time. And then, yeah, about 25 minutes later.
Damn, poor D. White. Maybe that's why Tatum didn't sign first. He was like, I know what news y'all are gonna break.
Fortunes, what do you mean? Guys, the problem here is that we don't know who the Celtics owner is going to be, but Wick Grusbeck is staying as team governor until 2028. So about halfway down the line of all these extensions coming into place. And the Jays and the Wahlberg brothers taking over the seas. Thanks, Wick. And so about halfway through all these extensions is when the new owner will have to start paying the tax. That's what my understanding is. So, yeah, they bought the team for $360 million in 2002. It's a bargain. You're selling it at its highest point right now. It's a smart business decision.
It's weird is what it is.
Yeah, guys, KW says, I love White, want him to get paid, but JB is around $50 million. Tatum will be above that the season after. Porzingis is at $28 million or so. Drew at 35, White at 30, 31. It's a lot. Guys, this is the core. We are winning and contending for championships with this core. You have to pay up. Sorry, it's going to cost a lot. You have to pay up.
Rashard Lee, unfortunately, I cannot buy the team. I am budgeting right now, and I have about $300 I can spend in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's my type of time, to be honest.
That's I'll buy you a drink. I'll buy Wick a drink. I'm not buying the team.
This is, it's crazy, guys. I mean, who do you want the Boston Celtics to sign? Sign an owner. Find somebody new.
Sign an owner.
Find somebody new.
Sign Shaquille O'Neal.
I mean, there's just like not a ton to really go from here. I mean, you sign Tatum to his extension, you sign Hauser to his extension, and that's the team you're rocking with, and you're set in stone for the foreseeable future, it seems.
Well, we could also talk about what we think about the Knicks and the 76ers, what that means for the Celtics possibly running it back.
We could get into that.
Because I did want to touch on that a little bit in the fact that it's kind of weird because the Celtics just won 2 weeks ago, and since then, the 76ers and the Knicks, it feels like they're creating super teams to try to compete with the Boston Celtics, because we know that all roads lead through the Boston Celtics. But when you look at Brad Stevens, all he's doing is extending and re-signing. And so I've had these comments of, Allie, do you want him to sign an outside player? Allie, are you worried about the New York Knicks? Allie, can the Boston Celtics win back-to-back? And I am worried about the Bridges trade. I think this makes them better. I think they still have flaws that they haven't addressed yet. So I want to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to get into a video here in just a little bit, talking about what the Knicks have done, what the 76ers have done so far in this offseason, what the Boston Celtics need to do to win Banner 19, because that's the whole point. Once you win one, the next thought is, can they run it back, and can they start a dynasty, which I don't think really starts until you win 3. And I know what KW is saying in here is that, this is really expensive. It is, but winning is expensive. Teams that do not pay well do not win. And so it's going to be a lot, but what's even better is that it's not your money. It's, the Celtics are not going to offer these deals if they don't have enough money. They don't. But they now do not have enough money to make any big moves like the Knicks or 76ers are. That's why we could not contend with Paul George. That's why Bridges is now playing for the New York Knicks. So we can trade pretty much now. We can't really sign anybody unless it's more than the vet minimum.
You can only trade one player at a time. Being over the second apron, you cannot trade multiple players in a deal.
So, yes, I understand your concerns with how much the Boston Celtics are paying, but in the same breath, why it doesn't matter if you know this team can win a championship. They just did that. So 110%, you lock up the guys that you have, because guess what? You don't pay them, they're going to the Knicks. You don't pay them, they're going to the Lakers. They're going to the Magic. That's why you have to make them an offer that keeps them here. So it's all business. It's a business. Just good business.
Sports is asking, so wait, can we still sign Tatum? Yes.
Yes, we can
Extend
Tatum.
Tatum will be getting signed. It's
we
not
can
a can,
Tatum.
it's a when.
Robert Bruce.
Adam Himmelsbeck also said the Celtics releases Boston Basketball Partners intends to sell all shares of the team.
Yes.
Now that is procedure. So I guess so you sell all the shares and then the other guys come back in. So they said, but some current members of ownership are still expected to ultimately stay on. Release says the sale will be finalized in 2028, with Grusbeck remaining governor until then. So it's not going to be until about midway through these extensions that another owner has to come in and start paying the big tax numbers.
Yeah. I mean, we can get in that cut whenever you want if you just want to talk about some things.
Sure.
Ooh, did you know the Clippers showed interest in drafting Bronny James?
I just saw that.
What a time.
It's kind of weird.
What a time. I got that script in the sheet, and all the graphics should be moved over. Actually, let me just move over roster courts, and then we're good.
Okay, let's see if I can make sure I get that.
All right, give me 1 second. And then we're going to go ahead and get into what we think about the Knicks and the 76ers. I'll be your shotgun rider till the day I die. Damn, what a day. What a day. What a day. All right, roster court's moved over. All right, what do you guys think about the Knicks and the Sixers? Celtic Raiders saying Tatum owns PG.
That's a fact. He dropped his ass.
PG's knees own PG. All they did was sign somebody that's got more injury issues than Joel Embiid.
That's arguable.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, PG's been relatively healthy for the most part for the past couple of years, but
like last year and a half, 2 years? He missed a whole season.
Yeah, 5-6 years ago.
No, in 2021.
He missed a whole year.
Yeah, didn't he?
No.
Hold on.
Paul George, last couple of seasons, has played
31 games in 21.
Games that year? Okay.
He played 31 games, then 56, which is a little bit more than Porzingis. 54 in 2020,
74
48.
this past year.
So that was his most. This was his Porzingis year, for sure.
But the problem with, 2019-20, he gets shortened due to COVID. 2020-2021, there was only 70 games played, and he played 54 of them. So
yeah,
the 2021-22, that is a rough amount of games played. He did face injury that year. I want to see.
Embiid has played 39 this year, then 66, 68, 51, 51. So
he's injured all the time. I just want to see on his SPO track, Paul George's at least.
Ooh, would you want Robert Kraft to buy the Celtics?
I could see that. I like that. He has a lot. He's a big time. The Kraft ownership group has a lot of franchises.
Interesting.
Gets hurt in 2021.
Yeah.
He gets hurt on December. Yeah, December. So basically, Christmas, December 26th to March 28th, he missed 43 games with an elbow injury.
Jeez.
And he actually ended up really missing 48 games with that elbow because he missed some in the early parts of December, re-aggravated it a week after he returned. But other than that, he's missed 9 games in 2023 for a knee. And every time other than that, it's just been mostly rest or a made-up injury for the most part. 5 games for a hamstring in 2023 as well, but 7 games earlier that season for a hamstring.
All right, you ready to get in this?
Yeah.
I got 160 people watching in here with me. All right, let's go ahead and get into this cut. We're going to talk about the Knicks. We're going to talk about the 76ers and what the Celtics need to do if they're making all of these moves here in the offseason. And what really can they do, I guess. Feel free to comment, like, super chat, subscribe while we're doing this cut here, talking anything and everything Boston Celtics here and the Eastern Conference as well. All right. Yep. The NBA offseason has had a lot of twists and turns so far, but not really centered around the Boston Celtics. Why? They just won the NBA Finals 2 weeks ago. They don't really need to be the team that needs to make a lot of changes here. But if you want to compete with the Boston Celtics, then yeah, you might have to shake some things up. That's exactly what the New York Knicks and Philadelphia 76ers are doing. And I'm your host, Allie Barefoot of Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I want to break down what the Knicks changes and 76ers changes mean for the Boston Celtics this upcoming regular season, because obviously the number one priority here is to run it back, to win Banner 19. And it looks like Brad Stevens may be limited to what he can do with his roster, but does he need to change too much? We're going to break that down here coming up in just a few moments. First things first, hit that sub button for me. Celtics Today is going live once a week in the offseason. We want you guys to be a part of it. We're going to go live for extensions. We're going to go live for trades. We're going to go live just once a week to shoot the shit and talk Boston Celtics basketball with you. Go on ahead, hit that sub button for me if you guys do want to join 38,000 loyal subscribers and jump in on the latest action surrounding the NBA, surrounding your Boston Celtics. All right, let's talk about the New York Knicks, because after they got knocked out in Game 7 of Round 2 in the NBA playoffs, obviously the front office is like, that can't happen again. And they've got the resources to be a very good basketball team. I thought if the Knicks and Celtics ended up playing each other in the Eastern Conference Finals, it was going to be a bloodbath. I thought it was going to go to possibly 7 games with the players they had on last year's roster. But now they're making a couple of different moves that could change the outcome this year. Here's what the New York Knicks have done so far in the offseason. They re-signed OG Anunoby. They traded for Mikal Bridges. but they did lose Isaiah Hartenstein, their center, to the Oklahoma City Thunder, which now leaves Mitchell Robinson as their lone center as of right now, pending any free agency pickups, pending any trades. But I think the real big storyline here, Schmidt, is adding Bridges to their backcourt.
I mean, yeah, no doubt about it. And Bridges is also one of the most cost-efficient players in the NBA. He makes a little bit more than $20 million a year. And for the production that he gives you, not only on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, he's one of the longest and switchable wing defenders in the NBA. And to pair him up with OG Anunoby, you have two defenders who probably have the best chance at limiting a Jayson Tatum and a Jaylen Brown out of any team in the NBA. So defensively, on the wing, the Knicks have a really good foundation in place to compete with the Boston Celtics. Now, am I going to say that the Celtics now have a clear front court advantage down low as the Knicks lost Isaiah Hartenstein? Probably not. I mean, you have Al Horford there and Kristaps Porzingis, but Porzingis is a real matchup nightmare for this Knicks team, but you also have to put into question his health. But the Knicks lose Isaiah Hartenstein, only have Mitchell Robinson, who has health concerns of his own. Could the Knicks be in the market to package Robinson and Deuce McBride and maybe a first-round pick to go get a better starting center? That could be in the cards, but for right now, they kind of have a hole down there at the center position with just Mitchell Robinson and a very shallow crop of free agent centers that are still available out there.
Let's take a look at the possible starting five here for the New York Knicks coming up in this regular season right now. Like Smitty said, there could still be some pending trades or free agent signings that could lead the New York Knicks starting five to look a little bit different. But Julius Randle sat out for a big portion of the season along with Mitchell Robinson because of injuries. But OG Anunoby was a pickup by the NBA trade deadline, and that was a phenomenal pickup. I did not think Anunoby was coming back, but then the Bridges trade happened, and what do you know, 24 hours later, Anunoby does re-sign with the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson obviously leading all ways here for the Knicks in the backcourt, in the scoring and facilitating in primarily the on-ball movement. Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson as your front court, it's not my favorite. I don't really like Julius Randle as a New York Knick. I don't think he fits in there very well, and especially with what he did because of an injury, I think the Knicks really stepped up without Julius Randle. And Mitchell Robinson being your starting center, doesn't push the needle for me. But we're going to break down the trade here that did send Bridges to the New York Knicks. They did get rid of Bojan Bogdanovic, who was another NBA trade deadline pickup. He didn't do much for the Knicks because he got injured towards the end of the season as well. They gave 4 unprotected and 2025 protected first-round picks, which the Nets horribly needed.
Yeah. I mean, the Knicks gave up a ton to get Mikal Bridges.
And the Nets have said this all offseason. They have said we are adamantly not trading Bridges. And then, of course, a couple of reports came out saying Bridges did want to go to the New York Knicks. And we knew the Nets, when they were kind of in trade conversation, that they were looking for protected picks and draft picks in the future because of the James Harden trade they made several years ago. They ended up doing nothing. They got rid of all their draft picks for that. So, Overall, you lose a really big player here for Bridges. I love how Cam Thomas has stepped up for the Nets, so I do think that Bridges coming to the Knicks, the Nets can still be viable here, but overall, I'm thinking of the Knicks versus Celtics, and I think Bridges makes them elite. I do. That scared the shit out of me when I saw this trade. But losing Hartenstein is a big loss for the New York Knicks. Why? Their front court does not bother me. Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle does not bother me going up against Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, Kristaps Porzingis, now Horford on the wings and in the paint. Plus, when you got two guards that act like bigs and Derrick White and Drew Holiday, who like to hang out down low around the rim, they're fantastic rim protectors. Derrick White blocks as if he is 7'3". Their front court does not bother me, including play-wise, skill-wise, and also injury-wise. I think Mitchell Robinson could probably get injured in this next year with how his injury report has gone. Same with Julius Randle. I know that Julius and New York Knicks fans aren't really happy with each other either. So yes, Mikal Bridges does make the New York Knicks a little bit better, but they're still kind of small in my opinion. You got a lot of shifty guards, you got a lot of shifty forwards, and you got some good ball handlers, as well as some great on-ball defenders. But you got to be big. And I don't know if Robinson and Julius Randle scare me. That's just me, though. If you guys disagree with me, let me know down below. Are you worried about the Nova Knicks? In case you guys did not know, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, and now Mikal Bridges all play for the Villanova Wildcats, and now they all play for the New York Knicks. They're all best friends. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let's talk about the 76ers now, because they're trying to be contenders. And you know what? Quite frankly, they're just trying to make it past the first and second round of the NBA playoffs. I understand that the 76ers haven't been a threat to the Celtics in a while because they kind of shoot themselves in the foot when it comes to the second round of the NBA playoffs, but they are constantly making moves that you can't ignore here. And here's what the 76ers have done so far in free agency and the offseason. They extended Tyrese Maxey 4 years, $206 million, I believe. They re-signed Kelly Oubre last night around midnight, which I did not know if Oubre was going to be another player that would come back to the 76ers. But then the big kicker here was that they signed Paul George. Not only that, they seem to be the only people trying to get Paul George. They could be the only people that could afford PG. Yeah. But Smith, Paul George immediately takes the 76ers from here to here.
Absolutely. I mean, he makes them a better team, no doubt. I think he fits in really well. They needed another off the bounce scorer in their starting lineup. Obviously, you have Maxey. Embiid can get his own in the ISO too. His face-up game is elite, and his back-to-the-basket game as well. But you needed that off-the-bounce scorer on the wing. You couldn't be bogged down by Tobias Harris anymore, just having him sit in the corner. And
he's in Detroit now.
Doing whatever he does on offense, which is not much. And you re-sign Oubre, who's a good piece for them. He could potentially come off the bench now, or he'll start, maybe put Paul George at the 4. That kind of makes them a smaller team. But you have this core in place now in Philadelphia. You got to hope it works. You tried a big 3 with James Harden. You tried this with Ben Simmons. And it didn't work. But now you have a viable two-way player on the wing in Paul George, who is a perennial all-star, still playing at a very, very high level. And a little bit of pressure is taken off of him right now to even potentially be the third option on this team. I mean, think about the leap that Tyrese Maxey took last year, being an all-star level player and just being one of the NBA's elite guards now. He's making $50 million or $40 million a year now on a 5-year extension. I'm definitely worried about the 76ers and the ceiling that they can reach, but you have to take into account their health issues. I mean, Embiid's not available all the time. He plays through injury in the playoffs, and then the 76ers fans cry about it.
I'll tell you
Paul
what,
George has injury concerns. He's dealt with an elbow, he's dealt with a knee, he's dealt with a hamstring.
Yeah.
Everywhere on Paul George's body is not 100%, but you know, at the end of the day, the ceiling on this team is very high, and they are definitely an Eastern Conference Finals contender to match up with Boston down the line in the postseason.
I've seen this story before, though. They do this where they try to take an NBA superstar and pair him with an MVP player like Joel Embiid, and it didn't work. Yeah. It has not worked. I don't see this working with Paul George. I don't see it being any different than James Harden with Joel Embiid. I think you're taking a superstar who also has injury issues himself,
no doubt.
Not to the extent of Joel Embiid, but he's got bad knees. He's got a bad body. It's happened before. And you know what's even more confusing to me is that it didn't work with Kawhi Leonard. And the Clippers, I know, put out a statement saying they got us where we not exactly where we wanted to be, but it was a good 5 years with the Clippers and Paul George. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George did nothing. They did nothing in their time together, which is why I'm thinking now you're going to put Paul George next to Joel Embiid, and I don't think they're going to do what everybody thinks they're going to do. I think this is a team that looks good on paper. If they prove me wrong, then so be it. We'll go about it that way. But I'm definitely a little bit more afraid of the New York Knicks than I am the 76ers just because I have seen this play out before. And now they're paying a hefty salary for Paul George to come alongside a Tyrese Maxey just got extended, an MVP candidate, and Joel Embiid, and anybody else they want to make roster moves here moving into the regular season, because here's what their possible starting 5 may look like, and you're going to have to take this a little bit of grain of salt. Why? Batum declined to come back to the 76ers. That does not mean he cannot be re-signed. He could still play with the 76ers in this upcoming year. Oubre just re-signed with the Sixers. Embiid, obviously MVP. Maxey was extended. And then you got Paul George. Well, their secondary here, their depth chart, it's not as intimidating as the New York Knicks with Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo coming off the bench, and certainly not as intimidating as the Boston Celtics with Al Horford, Al Horford, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, and whoever else they do want to end up re-signing or pairing with in free agency and with trades. So overall, They are contenders if healthy. If healthy is the key word here. I could play that same card with the Celtics, Kristaps Porzingis being healthy, even though we have proven we can without him, and I could play that card with the New York Knicks here. But PG and Embiid have not had the best track record with injuries. So, and to be honest, I think the 76ers remain the same to me. With Paul George, I think they get better, but I think they remain the same because you're going to run into the storylines of possibly a Paul George injury or a Joel Embiid injury. I think with Paul George, it didn't work with Kawhi Leonard. I don't see it working with Joel Embiid. This may be just a little bit on my shoulder here because I just watched this story 2 years ago with James Harden and Joel Embiid. They're not the same player here, but I think Paul George makes his team a lot better. But overall, I don't think it increases my threat to the Boston Celtics as they did in the last couple of years. But I could be wrong. Once again, that's just how I'm seeing it. I could be completely out of my mind right now. Please let me know what you guys think down below. Pick one to play. Would you rather play the Philadelphia 76ers or the New York Knicks? Type NYK, type 76ers, 76ers in the comment section below, and you guys know what to do. And my question now goes back to the Boston Celtics. Does Brad Stevens need to add anything? Because I think that Brad Stevens is a phenomenal GM. He's doing things that, no franchise is doing in the NBA right now, in my opinion. But with the Boston Celtics not having really any money to do anything other than signing a vet minimum or doing a trade, which they can only trade one player at a time, I would be remorse to say that I would think the Boston Celtics would want to do something to make their roster slightly different, just to throw something different at contenders. Like the Knicks have already played the Boston Celtics 5 times last year. Now you want to throw the exact same roster at them while their roster looks 10 times different. Same thing with the 76ers. So it will be intriguing to see what Brad Stevens can do and will do in this offseason. But I will be honest, I would not mind signing a big or a wing at the vet minimum. I think that just at least adding one different body could make a little bit of a difference here, even though I think the Boston Celtics are blessed to have their returning 8, returning 10 coming back next year, all the way from Neemias Queta to Jayson Tatum. And I do respect Brad Stevens a lot for bringing back all the players that contributed to make the Boston Celtics win an NBA championship, and I have faith the Celtics can do it once more with the same guys on the team, but I'd be lying if I said I'm content with staying with the exact same roster. Brad Stevens still has a lot of time to make a different move, and I would not be surprised if he did make a move that I never saw coming. But with that being said, I would like to add at least one more different player to add to the roster to take on the Knicks and take on the 76ers in the Eastern Conference this year. And as always, if the Celtics do make a roster move, go on ahead, hit that sub button for me down below, and we got you covered on anything and everything for your Boston Celtics as they go on ahead and try to win back-to-back here, banner 18 to banner 19 next year, baby. Let's go on ahead and do so. All you guys got to do is hit that sub button for me.
Are you guys worried about the Knicks or Sixers?
Mr. Gonzalez saying, listen, Sixers are trash. They had so many good players and did nothing. They had Butler, Harden, Simmons, and more, and it was the same result. Paul
I was
George.
forgetting somebody. It was Jimmy.
Paul George is not going to help them.
Paul George is definitely going to help them. I'm not going to lie, guys. He's definitely going to help.
Alberto saying 76ers is just a PG-13 rated team for more of the C's defense. Paul George and Oubre got some beef, though. Do they?
Were they ever They were never teammates.
Why would Paul George and Oubre have beef?
What's the beef there?
Walsh can play some minutes this year. Me. I'd probably play Neemias Queta over Jordan Walsh.
Okay.
All right. With that being said,
what do you guys think? Yes, the Celtics are selling their majority stake. I mean, how will it impact the run the Celtics are trying to build? It really won't. I don't think Brad Stevens is going to be comfortable with letting an ownership group come in who is trying to blow this shit up. Like, especially if they win another championship, how do you even conceptualize breaking this group up? The problem is, even if you let Porzingis' contract play out and then don't bring him back, like, you're still way over the second tax apron. So you won't be able to bring anybody in. So that's going to be somebody you're probably going to have to re-sign at a lower price, because he'll probably be in his 30s by then. Is Porzingis 28 right now?
Yes.
Yeah, so he'll be 30 at the end of this deal.
Yeah, it'll be intriguing to see what Brad does. I mean, even the vet minimum guy isn't going to, change the roster too much, but at least it's just able to throw a different body out there. And plus, he can always do more at the trade deadline, which is what he did last year, adding Jaden Springer and Xavier Tillman at the deadline there. But we don't have the funds to make a big change like the Knicks and the 76ers did. KW, I think we relegate KP to the bench after his 30th birthday. Keep him healthier like a modern Bill Walton. Well, Nuggets aren't making that many moves here this offseason either.
Yeah, I was going to say, guys, like, Nuggets...
They're actually losing people.
The Nuggets are... They're in trouble. They have the best player in the world, and they're in trouble.
Yeah, somebody tweeting out, the Sixers make it to the second round series next year. Paul George will be 35 years old when the series tips off. In the first year of that deal, the 4-year deal.
Yeah, no, he's going to be 30. He's going to be 38, 39 by the time it's over.
That's crazy. That man's old. All right, with that being said, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us here today. If anything else happens, we could possibly hop back on here, go live again if Jayson Tatum does make a contract extension. If not, we're definitely going to put a video out there as well. But I think we talked about Derrick White. We talked about the Boston Celtics possibly selling the team. We had a nice little cut in there about whether or not we are afraid of the 76ers or the New York Knicks. So we definitely have a couple of things to keep an eye out on here in the offseason. I think Sam Hauser and Jayson Tatum are the next players up to make a contract extension. But when that happens, we're going to have it right here on Boston Celtics Today by Chat Sports. Going ahead, hit that sub button for me, and as always, go Boston Celtics.